Hey guys, Tekking here. Today we're going to be reviewing One Piece Chapter 859, titled The Yonko Assassination Plot. Dun 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 dun! Okay, seriously though, guys, I mean, the title is right there, The Yonko Assassination Plot, okay? I am trusting you guys with this information, okay? Oda is trusting us with this information. Do not share this shit with any of the Big Mom pirates, okay? Alright, just don't do it. Do you want Luffy to die? I don't want Luffy to die. Do you want Nami to die? I mean, yeah, she's a gold-digging bitch sometimes, but I don't want her to fucking die, okay? I'm trusting you guys. Oda's trusting us here, okay? All right, let's get into this then. All right. Okay, so chapter starts off with the meeting. We're actually getting a reverse angle from last time, which I really like. The last chapter, of course, had the angle with Luffy in the foreground, and then, you know, extending down the table, you know, you see Carrot and Pedro, and then Beijay at the very end. This time it's like reverse, so we get to see it from Beijay in the foreground. So I like that, really getting a full scope of this meeting table here. By the way, I kind of wonder what's just like the random members of the Fire Tank Pirates, you know, like the random just the grunt soldiers, because remember, Luffy and his crew, he doesn't have grunts. He doesn't have, like, random fucking people he just throws out in the front line to be the vanguard, you know? It's only his, like, closest friends that are part of his crew. So, you know, every other crew has, like, you know, a few dozen people they just have there as just regular soldiers. I wonder, there's a guy sitting there, member of the Fire Tank Pirates, got a gun rifle around his back, and he's like, oh my god, that's fucking Straw Hat Luffy! Oh my god, and that's Capital Girl Nami. I know, do you want to get her autograph? I want to do more than that, buddy. Okay, you know, it would be rude of me to ask, you know? It's just, they're starstruck. It's understandable. Okay, so Sanji brings up the fact, like, okay guys, you know, I'm not really one to shy away from killing Big Mom. I mean, it's not exactly what I want to do, but if that's the way we're going down with it, is it possible to kill her with, like, guns and cannons and shit? Which is a fair question. Beijay even brings up, like, okay, fair point, you're right. Sanji compares her to an iron balloon. Now, we've never actually seen Big Mom in a straight-up fight. We've seen her throw tantrums, you know, wreck cities and stuff, and, you know, stuff like that. Well, I don't think even when Brook fought her, I don't think he fought her directly. It was her homies, you know, Zeus and Prometheus and Napoleon were the ones that actually dealt out the damage to Brook. It wasn't like a straight-up fight between, you know, Brook charges up, you know, his sword, you know, soul salt, and dive bombs and, like, tries to stab her in the fucking eye or something, and the sword just kind of, like, kink! I would be scared to my bones if I wasn't already. Oh shit, I am already bones! Fuck! Kink, 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 you know, and then, yeah, we didn't get that. So we didn't really get a straight-up fight with Big Mom, but it's reason to understand we can defer that she's a pretty tough cookie. So Beijay brings up, like, alright, listen, here's the answer. Assuming certain conditions are met, I can take Big Mom's head in just 5 seconds. 5 seconds is all it's going to take to bring down a Yonko. I gotta be honest with you guys, we find out about pretty much the entire plan in this chapter. Not something I figured we were gonna get. I thought we were just gonna skip right to the wedding. We would find out about the plan later. But I think the fact that we're learning about the plan right now, that's not a good thing, because now we know all the different ways that it can fuck up. Okay, so bear with me there. But yeah, that first issue right there, a 5-second window, when that's the best you're working with here, I mean, no one said this was going to be easy. Taking down a Yonko, no matter, even if you've, you know, have a man on the inside or multiple men on the inside. Beijay said he's been with Big Mom's Pirates for about a year. If you have the necessary abilities and the skills, and you have, like, devil fruit powers and hockey, and you got, like, the smartest brain on the fucking planet. Yeah, even with all that shit at your disposal, taking out a Yonko, it's not going to be a fucking walk in the park. Okay, well, maybe a walk in the park in, like, that seedy part of town. You know what I'm talking about? That park that has like one rusted jungle gym, and there's used condoms everywhere and cigarette butts. You're walking through there at 2 o'clock in the morning, there's some deranged crack addict, you know, shooting up and behind a tree, and then there's a bunch of fucking mafia guys doing illegal gun deals with the serial numbers sawed off behind the jungle gym. Yeah, maybe a walk in that park. but not so much. It's not going to be easy, is essentially the point here. So obviously, creating a 5-second opening at this tea party is not going to be an easy feat, especially since BJ reaffirms there's going to be all these powerful customers that are going to be at this tea party, and you got mafiosos, you got freaking rulers of the underworld, you got all the commanders of the Big Mom Pirates. Fuck, not even just the commanders, even just the standard strong fighters of the Big Mom crew, they're all going to be collected there. All her children are going to be collected there, and so it's going to be hard to get that 5-second window when if you fuck up, you just even sneeze wrong at this freaking party, everyone's going to have a knife at your throat in like 2 seconds flat. So they bring up, though, that one of the big components of this going okay, you know, one of the reasons that they were even able to do this plan at all was because of Caesar Clown. Oh, I'm sorry, Gastino. And I just got that recently, Gastino. I thought last chapter because, oh, it sounds Italian. That must be what he's going for. Everyone's like, no, Matt, you're a dumb shit. It's Gasti. Get it? Gas because gas. I'm like, oh, yeah, guys. So fuck it. I knew that. I was testing you. Yeah, well, anyway, Caesar obviously freaks out, of course, because, you know, he doesn't even want to be here at all. He just wants to leave. The only reason he's helping out BJ is because BJ, you know, has his heart, and he says, you know, if you listen to me, if you do what I say, I'll let you run free. And now the Straw Hats are back in this plan, and he doesn't want to see them ever again, probably, in his entire life. He kind of reverts back to his kind of demented sicko ways, as if to imply he ever changed his demented sicko ways. Well, no, I mean, there was that one time. Caesar goes through a lot of fucking aliases. Did you ever notice that? We had Caesar Clown, right? And then he had to play that that character when he was on Dressrosa. He had to dress up in a fake disguise. And then he was Cedar when he was on Zoe, and now he's Gangster Gastino. So he has Oda has a little bit of a running gag going on with this guy. But he even says, you know, to BJ, you know, if you're thinking about calling our agreement off, or if you're thinking about, you know, pulling a hamstring on me or something, I'm just going to kill your infant child. So, yeah, kind of a dick there. What is with Caesar and children? Kidnapping children, experimenting on kids, threatening to kill babies. I mean, I'm starting to, like, it's the weirdest thing with Caesar. It's just, like, he was a dick at first, and then he became just kind of like a joke, just being manipulated by everybody, so I felt kind of bad for him. And then Zoe rolled around, where he was honestly helping the people of Zoe. I mean, he was being forced to do it, but he was still helping them, right? It seemed like there was that time in Zoe when someone came to go pick up medicine from him, and he wasn't a total dick. And now we're getting back to this now, where it's like, I'm gonna threaten to kill your fucking infant child. I'm like, oh, Caesar. Anyway, they rebut this by just calling him Gastini or Gastini, I think would be the funnier way to say that. And so he freaks out. It's like, it's not Gastini, it's Caesar. I mean, it's Gastino, damn it. Then you have Nami in the background who's just like, who cares what we call him? He's still trash. Oh! God damn it, Nami throwing that shade! I love that. Nami's done with it. It's just like, he's just trash. No one cares about you. You know what I just realized? Caesar ate the gas fruit, right? Now, it's interesting because gas is not an element like fire or electricity. Gas is like just a state of matter. So, if he ate the gas fruit, does that mean that Caesar can manipulate, like, all forms of gas? Because that's a pretty damn OP power if you really think about it. Like, could he just summon just normal steam out of nowhere? I mean, steam is water in gas form, right? Or any sort of poison gas. Or I know he can't do that because all of Caesar's poison weapons don't actually kill people. But if he just had the ability, like just the fucking vague ability to manipulate every form of gas at will and create all these gases at will, that's pretty damn OP if you really understand how all this shit works, right? But anyway, the reason Caesar or Gastini is going to be useful here is because he's the one that actually developed the poison weapon that's going to take down Big Mom, at least if everything goes according to plan with this strategy they have here. And it's called the KX Launcher! Okay, so they're basically RPGs that have specialized tips that are like syringes, so when you shoot them and they come in contact with somebody, they probably have the ballistic power to actually penetrate a very tough adversary, and then you have the syringes at the end that will actually inject this poison directly into the person. The poison itself is 5 grams of toxic organophosphate directly into the body, and an absolutely godless weapon of slaughter. Die! Die, you fools! Okay, you know what, Caesar? I would be a little bit more impressed by your poisonous resume. so to speak, if your techniques actually ever killed anybody. Remember Shirokuni? Oh, it's a mass slaughter weapon! It covers the entire island in a fog of death! And then, you know, the people get covered by it and they get encased in that fucking shell and it looks like they're dead, but they're not actually dead. You can cure them fairly easily. And then, when Jack showed up on Zoe, he released the Koro, the kill gas weapon, the weapon that was literally just called kill gas. And it took up to 48 hours to actually kill the minx, and had an easy enough antidote to prepare once Caesar arrived. So, I'm sorry, Caesar, is it really that difficult to create a gas that kills you within 5 minutes of actually being administered? I'm asking because, you know, that kind of shit already fucking exists in several forms. But yeah, I'm sure no, that the KX kill organophosphate, whatever, I'm sure this will be deadly as hell. I'm sure this will be your masterpiece, okay? Sure. Whatever, Gastini. Alright, well, moving on. They're like, oh, okay, now we just have to hit her with this weapon and it'll all be good. Beijé's like, no, that's not, remember, she's still a fucking iron balloon. Even if I hit her with this freaking RPG, it's still probably not going to affect her. He goes on to say, you know, she's wrecking town, she's knocking buildings over, people are always trying to stop her. I've seen this woman take a fucking, just a cannonball load right in the face and just nothing. So we're going to need a little bit more than just a rocket launcher with a syringe taped to it, okay? So he brings up this one particular incident that occurred. The caramel photo incident. Vito's the one that actually brought it up. So this is apparently the one incident that ever occurred, according to Beijé, because he's been on the crew for about a year now, the one incident that occurred that actually Big Mom was injured even in the slightest of ways. So basically, there's been other tea parties than this. This tea party's main attraction is a wedding, but she's performed other tea parties before, right? This is like an occurrence. This is something Big Mom lives for because she gets to have all these awesome sweets from around the world. And she's a Yonko, so of course people attend. So, one of the traditions at this tea party, at these tea parties that Big Mom always does, is that the table that she's sitting at, I would assume, you know, she's at the head of the table, and then the people sitting around her, like the higher-ups of the Big Mom family, maybe they're, you know, members of the underworld that are sitting around her, but the space that is directly opposite of Big Mom, is in the space that she looks directly at when she's eating and fucking stuffing her face or whatever, is a photograph. That was weird. A photograph of someone called Mother Caramel. And we don't actually know who this is, but Beijé says you can think of this photo as her one weakness. Mother Caramel is like Mama's lifesaver, basically her benefactor, the one person that she actually owes her life to. It's very vague in this chapter, but we can assume it's probably not her actual mom, but maybe someone that saved her at some point in her life. She apparently ran away some time ago, according to Chiffon, and even the family members don't know a lot about her. Nami questions if she's dead, but they just do not know. So basically, this photograph is probably like the one thing that Big Mom actually has to actually remember this Mother Caramel person, and maybe it's because of this person that Big Mom got all into, like that on this track to become Yonko, or she became obsessed with all the food, and maybe it's because of her she had the soul fruit. I don't know, man, but this Mother Caramel is really important. Now, why is a photograph relevant here? Well, because at one of the tea parties, I guess a guest was getting up to leave or something happened. They were carrying a tray. Something happened and they knocked over this photo. And then all hell just broke loose. Big Mom just broke down. She got on her knees. Please don't think about that, Big Mom on her knees. But Big Mom gets on her knees and fucking just clutches her head and she just starts wailing this huge fucking bitch screech that just knocks everybody in an immediate vicinity out, you know, and Chiffon states it's a manner similar to a violent fit. Everyone's freaking out. People are passing out, clutching their eardrums like this is a sound that like literally screams like a nail on chalkboard in your fucking skull that just echoes, right? And because, in addition to that screeching, and she goes into those conditions, she's liable to even activate her Conqueror's Haki so people can pass out that way. We've seen that happen before with Luffy, whenever Luffy's in a really, like, emotional state when he was trying to rescue Ace, and he was being held back, and he was about to be executed, like the blades were fucking coming down, and there was nothing he could do, and he just couldn't handle it, and he just blew his freaking stack and released a huge wave of Conquerors that just knocked out everybody. So yeah, that stuff can happen. So on top of the deadly bitch screech, you also have Conqueror's Hockey to deal with. And that's all because someone just dropped a photo on the ground. By the way, I wonder what happened to that guy. Oh my god, could you believe that shit? You know, let's, like, it would be, okay, it might have been, like, a member of the family, but how funnier would it have been just to be a random fucking waiter? You know, like, you know, some guy that just, you know, came to Whole Cake Island, maybe he's been living in Totland for a while, you know, just some young kid, he's just like, I can't believe I get to serve at Mama's tea party, I'm really moving up in the world, maybe I'll get to join the pirate crew someday, this is cool. It's like, hey waiter, where is my wine? Oh, it's over here, sir. No! And then that guy died in the worst possible way, like you can imagine. Like he's still, actually no, he might still be alive today in Big Mom's fucking torture dungeon. You know she has one. And he's just, his balls are ripped off, and his, like, limbs are all gone, and he's kept alive just enough so he could still feel the pain of what they're doing to him. And that's how Big Mom spends her Saturday nights. So, basically, that's going to be their goal. They're going to try to smash that photo in half. They're just going to cut it right in half in front of her, and when she goes into that violent fit, she's going to be weakened, because when it happened the first time, just when somebody dropped it, she fell to her knees, and when she did that, she scraped her knees, and she bled for the first time that anyone was aware of, and that was a big deal, because they didn't even know that red blood flowed in her veins, because she's like a monster, right? So, yeah, that's going to be their goal here, to break up a fucking photo, essentially. And then news of her assassination will spread all over the world. That's when they shoot her with the freaking RPG and it explodes, and this deadly poison is introduced into this, like, saline-based poison, and that's how she dies. You know, if everything goes as planned within this 5-second window. Now, there's a few issues with this. Number one, Chopper brings up, like, well, what happens when she starts screeching like a lunatic? You know, won't you be affected by that too? And Beige pulls out these earplugs he calls the Invisible Symphonia System, which are just earplugs. You know, I don't know about that, because remember, Big Mom ate the soul fruit, so when she's letting out her scream, I feel like that might actually do something and affect the soul, not just the physical eardrums. So there might be a problem with that too. Luffy states, like, oh, okay, so when she's in the middle of this violent fit, then I'm gonna go and rescue Sanji. And Beige's like, no, don't get acting all cocky here. It's going to take at least 3 seconds from the time we destroy that photo from the time that she actually starts her fit. So I got to make sure that there's nobody encumbering me in that time so I can actually pull out this thing and load it up and then fire at it. So even if it's just a few seconds, you know, these are some of the strongest customers in the world. It's going to be really hard to just have 3 uninterrupted seconds. So what's going to happen here is that's going to be Luffy's job. Luffy's actually going to be the distraction here. Now, whether or not that means that Luffy's going to be the one that actually shows up out of nowhere, breaks the photo, or he's going to be the one that immediately takes the fall for breaking the photo. Perhaps it's something like this. Beige already has a plan in place for destroying the photo, and then Luffy shows up and attacks Big Mom or tries to rescue Sanji. So everybody at the tea party thinks, oh, it was Straw Hat's plan to break the photo and then rescue Sanji. That was his plan. And then it's like a double, you know, like a double layer thing, because that's when Beige shows up like, no, it was a distraction and a distraction. Sayonara, you fat whale. You know, something like that. I don't know, but Luffy's pretty pumped up to do it. Nami and everybody's kind of worried, but Luffy's pretty chill. He's like, it's cool, I'll do it. Besides, I just thought of a super cool way to make my entrance, and I'm not telling you what it is. Yeah, that's pretty much all Luffy cares about. It was like, yeah, I'll rescue Sanji. Oh my god, I just thought of an awesome thing I could do to show up. I have no idea what that will entail, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Spoilers. So, next is the signal, when all this shit starts. You know, when are we going to start this? And Beige's like, the signal will be when Pudding and Sanji kiss. And Sanji's like, whoa, no, we can't do that. She's going to try to kiss me and then pull out that freaking candy-coated revolver and then shoot me in the face. I still gotta dodge a bullet here, you fucking gangster. So how about we just make the gunshot the signal? So when she pulls out the gun, which, by the way, knowing Oda and what we've seen with Nami, where do you think Pudding is going to be keeping this long candy-coated revolver in a wedding dress? Oh, gee, I wonder. Could it maybe be in a secret pocket? No, it's going to be in her fucking tits. She's going to be like, oh, yes, Sanji, yes. Boom. So, yeah, Sanji still, I mean, he has observation hockey, so it shouldn't be a problem, but he's still got to dodge a bullet pretty much at point-blank range, so good luck to you there. But, yeah, when the gunshot is fired, that's when the plan starts. And that's actually going to be a good idea, because that's at the same time when all of the Big Mom family is going to be waiting in anticipation. Yes, Sanji's going to die. Everyone, I can't wait to see what their reaction is when Sanji gets shot. It's going to be crazy. That's when we're going to start this massacre. And then boom, Sanji moves, gunshot, and then all this other shit starts happening with the photo and be like, what? So I think it's set up for mass panic. I think you can manage this. So that's when Caesar breaks in, because Caesar has the ability to fly with his devil fruit, and using Brulee's power, he's going to have a mirror at the ready, so that makes it an escape really easy, and it's really simple that they have Brulee with them. So it's like everyone just jump in the mirror, and then we can just go our separate ways, and Brulee's there in the background trying to figure out some way to maybe get this message to Mama. You better not fuck anything up, you freaking forest witch bitch. I swear, if this whole plan dies because of her, I mean, I'm gonna be pretty mad here. I'm gonna have to make her face into like a dartboard or something, because that would be horrible. Like, you're just a side character that is being manipulated by the main cast for means to an end, Brulee. That's all you've ever been. Okay, I'm also a little bit pissed at her because, yeah, okay, we've all come up with ideas for our own custom devil fruits, right? At one point in our lives, we've thought about an idea for a devil fruit power. Mine was the mirror fruit. I thought that was a pretty cool concept for a fruit. I came up with some pretty cool ideas for it. And then, not like a really powerful, relevant character in the story shows up with the mirror fruit. It's this fucking fairy tale bitch that has it. Yeah, well, dreams die. I feel like that time when Sanji found out that Absalom had the clear fruit. Like that boiling rage. Like, of all people to eat it, it wasn't me, but it was this fucking lion bastard? Are you serious? I want to kill this piece of shit. You know, kind of like that. Right, well, anyway, the bottom line is he's like, prepare a mirror on your ship, because once we get in the mirror world and once we get out of Big Mom's territory, it's every man for himself. May war's fortune be with you. So that's essentially the plan in a nutshell. Step 1, destroy the photo. Step 2, Luffy shows up as a distraction. Step 3, launch a fucking RPG missile into Big Mom's gullet. Step 4, she dies. Step 5, get the fuck out of there. I mean, that's pretty much what we're going with here, and the whole thing gets started as soon as Pudding fires her tit gun shot. Okay, so with only 2 hours left for the wedding, 2.5 hours left, Sanji's like, alright, I better get back to my room, so the meeting is adjourned, essentially. Now we cut away to different parts of Totland, the islands that I guess Oda designed, we just never got to see, really. We see Cheese Island, oh no, I'm sorry, Milk Island or Dairy Island, Cheese Town. Okay, so that's, I wouldn't really want to live there. I mean, that's a lot of fucking cholesterol there. Then we have Nuts Island, Peanut Town. Okay, Nut Town would probably be preferable to Cheese Town. Not the reason you're thinking, just, you know, peanuts are pretty good, and they don't have to worry about melting all over me. That would kind of suck. Then we get Coca Island, Chocolate Town. That's the first place they went when they arrived in Totland. And then finally, the Germa Kingdom, the Germa Kingdom, where we see all the clone soldiers talking about how they're not allowed into the wedding, the escort service. Makes sense. The whole point of Big Mom wanting to kill Sanji and the Vinsmokes is to get the clone army, so you kind of need to keep them around. And all the technology of the place. They want to make sure their actual kingdom is held together. Inside, we see the Vinsmoke family. We see Niji and Ichiji getting ready for the day. Ichiji turns out to have a really badass tattoo on his arm. The Yonji still hasn't gotten up yet. They're getting ready to move. Then we cut to Big Mom's bedroom, where we see her waking up and pretty distraught at first that Brook's not moving. Remember, Nami and the others replaced that Brook with a fake. She wakes up and she's like, oh, my skeleton's not moving. But then Zeus and Prometheus rectify this very quickly. But hey, guess what? That sucks, but cake! And so Big Mom just chucks the freaking fake Brook away, just figures she killed him, and just like, yes, wedding cake! It's gonna be awesome! People are arriving at the island. Morganus appears to have arrived at the port. I don't think we've ever met Morganus yet, but that's a pretty cool name. And then the last scene of the chapter, we see Pudding, the bitchy cunt herself. I think a bunt. She is a bunt. The bunt herself getting ready in her quarters. She's talking to Rabian and Nitro the Jelly, those two little characters that are always hanging out next to her. And she's like, oh man, I can't bear the thought of blood staining this nice dress. You know, after I shoot that idiot Sanji in the face, it's going to get blood everywhere. Oh, and then I'm going to have to use my memo powers to remove the memories of so many people. What a bloody pain in the ass. And that's the size of a bride. Oh, yes, so many problems that you have. Fuck you, you bunt. Okay, so, yeah, the tea party is about to begin, guys. Next chapter, I guarantee you it's going to start. We're diving right into this. So, a few points of this chapter is, I think, we're going to need a lot of miracles for this plan to work. This plan is not set in stone, and I can think of many different ways that this plan can fail. I think you can, too. So, I wouldn't expect this plan to go over foolproof. It's not going to go down. Maybe it might... Maybe Brule can freaking speak up and manage to screw up the whole thing. Somebody can end up getting killed. Luffy could fuck it up. You know, there's just so many things that could go wrong here. Destroying the photo might have a completely opposite reaction than what they were expecting. We don't know. As for the photo, Mother Caramel, I have no idea who that could be. But when I did a live reaction to this, a few people brought up the idea of a connection between Big Mom and Jewelry Bonnie. And I honestly have thought about that, because Bonnie, her whole thing is like, you know, she even kind of, I mean, she has pink hair, same as Big Mom. I'm not saying that's a connection, but she also loves to stuff her fucking craw all the time with food, and just that's what she does, and she never gets fatter. And then her Devil Fruit ability has the ability to, it can change her age as well as the ages of other people around them. So she can change people into little kids or to old men if she wants to, and she can change her own appearance. So, you know what? It's impossible. It's entirely possible, right? That Jewelry Bonnie, like this hot girl with the big tits that we already know about in the One Piece story, this could not even be her actual age. It could be like she's like an old woman that ate the fruit, and now she can just change her age at will and just chooses to stay her most vital and her most, you know, in her default state. That might not actually be her real age. So that's something to consider. Maybe she was this Mother Caramel, and through the power of her fruit, maybe she was tied to the Totland. Her ship even kind of resembles something you would find in Totland. You know, it's a food-based vessel. So, you know, she was Mother Caramel, found Big Mom. Something happened there. She was the benefactor of her or whatever, and then she was part of Totland, and then she left and then used her Devil Fruit powers, and maybe she ate the Devil Fruit then to turn into Bonnie, and then she, you know, Bonnie's always going around being like, I'll never forgive them, you know, like, she has a lot of grudges in her life for a young lady, you know, for somebody of like Luffy's age or something like that, or maybe a little bit older. So I think she's a little bit older than she really is. I think she might actually be like the old woman kind of character that just used the fruit to stay young. Something like that. So, I mean, that's just an idea. It could be completely somebody else, but I'm just throwing out the similarities here. You know, same hair color, same general idea, you know, being able to eat a lot of food. The ships are similar, you know, that's something there. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Comment and like below. Also, yeah, I'm trying out the end screen thing. It's cool. Also, remember to subscribe, of course, and check out this video. I'm doing this new series called Know the Voice. It's going to be a series where I look at voice actors, and not just what they do in anime, but actually what other stuff they do, like if they're an actor in a movie or something. And in the first episode, I talk about Jason Scott Douglas, who is an actor in The Walking Dead, and he's been in a bunch of movies like Sin City and Jack Reacher. He also voices Beerus and Aokiji. That's going to be the point of this series. And so yeah, go ahead and share it around on Twitter, get it out there so it can kind of get on its feet, maybe trying to make this a real new series here. But thanks for guys for watching. This will be Tekking101 signing out. Later, guys.